Hi, study mates. Welcome back to Let's Study TOEFL program. I'm Emmy, and today we're gonna continue learning about TOEFL reading, especially skill 2, which is organization of idea. But before that, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Emmy Rosida. Starting my career after college, I became an English teacher in SMA Progressive Bumi Solawat Sidoarjo. Then I currently become an online English tutor in Jago Bahasa. Here are some of my achievements during college. I became the first runner-up of National English Speech English Week Universitas Negeri Surabaya 2023. Also, I nominated by the best micro teaching on Epic Camp 2024, established by American Corner Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. All right, you ready to start our session? Okay, let's get started. Before that, I would like to invite you to understand about the type of questions that possibly appear in your TOEFL reading part about organization of idea. Jadi tipe-tipe pertanyaannya tuh kayak apa aja sih? Oke, bisa kita bahas ya. Yang pertama adalah how is the information in the passage organized? Jadi informasi yang ada di bacaan itu disusun seperti apa sih? Apakah tentang sebab akibat atau mungkin diberikan definisi dulu, kemudian diberi penjelasan yang lebih rinci, atau tentang comparing two things. Seperti itu ya. Kemudian pertanyaan yang kedua ada juga yang tipenya how is the information in the second paragraph related to the information in the first paragraph. Jadi kita diminta untuk mengcompare atau mengkonklusikan idea dari dua paragraf. Entah itu paragraf 1 dan 2, 2 dan 3, 1 dan 3, dan lain-lain. Apa sih hubungannya? Mungkin di paragraf pertama menyebutkan definisi, kemudian di paragraf kedua itu disebutkan jenis-jenisnya, dan sebagainya. Nah, here are some strategies how to answer the questions about organization of idea. So the first one, nggak jauh beda ya sama tips and trick di pertemuan sebelumnya tentang main idea. Of course, read the first sentence of each paragraph. Dan kalau bisa, and also the last sentence of the first paragraph. Karena biasanya it will give you a hint or a clue about what we'll discuss now. Next. In the upcoming paragraphs. And the second one, you could identify how each paragraph related. Kalian coba cari tahu hubungannya antara paragraf 1 dan paragraf lainnya itu kayak gimana sih? Oh, yang ini menjelaskan apa, yang itu membahas apanya. And the last one is, you could eliminate the answer choices. Yang menurut kalian salah, itu bisa dihilangi terlebih dahulu, biar kalian nggak bingung. Okay? Alright. That's all about our material. So now we are ready to proceed to the practice session. Okay, so we have another 10 questions to be discussed. Here's the first passage and our first question. I will give you 20 seconds to answer, okay? Alright, time is up, teman-teman. Okay, so let's discuss it ya. Jangan lupa, as I mentioned previously, that please read the first sentence of the paragraph. Dan kalau misal butuh, also the last sentence of the first paragraph. Nah, here is it. The answer is A. Let's discuss it one by one ya. So, how is the information in the passage organized? Gimana sih informasi di dalam bacaan itu disusun? Nah, kita coba lihat gimana ya. Di paragraf pertama, if asked who invented the game of baseball, most American would probably reply that it was their belief that Abner Doubleday did. Nah, kalau misal ditanya tentang Siapa sih yang menemukan the game of baseball? Most American itu mungkin bakal jawab Abner Doubleday did. Nah, di paragraf kedua, coba kita lihat. Apakah ada further info tentang baseball or Doubleday? Doubleday was given credit, okay, masih ngomongin Doubleday, for this invention early in the 20th century when sporting goods manufacturers Spalding inaugurated a commission to research the question of who invented baseball. Oke, berarti Doubleday itu diberi kredit atau diberi pengakuan, diberi pujian for inventing the baseball game. Oke, berarti lanjut tentang Doubleday yang diberi pujian ya karena menemukan baseball. Itu. Nah, di last paragraph, today most sport historians are in agreement that Doubleday really did not have much to do with the development of baseball. Ternyata di paragraf 1 habis ngenalin Doubleday, di paragraf 2 habis bilang kalau dia dapat pujian, di paragraf 3 it is in the contrary. Ternyata kontradiksi ya informasinya sama di paragraf-paragraf sebelumnya. So the best answer is A. An idea is presented and then refuted. Jadi ada ide, ada sebuah gagasan yang dipresentasikan kemudian refuted atau disanggah. Itu ya teman-teman, semoga jelas. So the best answer is A. Okay, next to the second question. Okay, another question of how the passage organized. 10 seconds to read this. All right, time is up. What is your answer? Okay, so the answer is actually B. So let's see it ya, how the information in this passage organized. Di paragraf pertama, conflict within an organization is not always viewed as undesirable. Berarti ngomongin konflik yang ada di organisasi. Itu nggak selalu dipandang tidak diinginkan loh. Apa ya maksudnya? Nah, kita lihat. In fact, various managers have widely divergent ideas on the value that conflict can have. Jadi banyak manajer itu udah kayak memetakan gitu loh. The value itu, value dari konflik itu bisa jadi apa aja sih? Konflik itu bisa diartikan sebagai apa aja sih? Oke, di paragraf kedua. According to the traditional view of conflict, nah ini pandangan pertama. Traditional view of conflict. Conflict is harmful to an organization. Konflik itu bahaya. Oke, berarti bakal dijelaskan entah itu bahayanya, kenapa dianggap bahaya, dan lain-lain. Nah, di next paragraph. The interactionist view of conflict. Nah, jadi ada pandangan lain, which is interactionist view. On the other hand, berarti berkebalikan ya, holds that conflict can serve an important function in our organization by reducing complacency among workers and causing positive changes to occur. Oke. Nah, kita udah lihat tadi ada dua view dari bagaimana sih seseorang itu memandang konflik. So yeah, here is it. Contrasting views of conflict are presented. Gitu. So the answer is B. Okay, hope you got it, guys. Let's continue to the next question. All right, number C. Number 3. What type of information is included in the first paragraph? 10 seconds to think. All right, time is up. So what is your answer? Okay, let's check it. So, yeah, here is it. We have a keyword here. What type of information is included in the first paragraph? Kita perhatiin yang first paragraph aja. Kita lihat. IQ as the subject of this passage or intelligent quotient is defined Ini kata kuncinya teman-teman. Is defined, didefinisikan, diartikan. It means that the first paragraph contains the information of definition. Alright, hopefully that's clear enough. Let's continue to number 4. Lumayan panjang ya ini. Oke, coba. I'll give you 20 seconds to think. Okay, time is up. So what's your answer? Okay, let's check it out. So the answer is A. Let's try to discuss it ya. How is the information in the passage organized? Nah, kita lihat di paragraph 1. The largest lake in the western US is the Great Lake, Salt Lake, an inland saltwater lake in northwestern Utah, just outside the state capital of Salt Lake City. Oke, berarti paragraf ini ngomongin the largest lake itu tadi ya, yakni the Great Salt Lake. Di paragraf kedua, although the Great Salt Lake is fed by freshwater streams, it is actually saltier than the oceans of the world. Oke. Ting ngomongin ini ya, tingkat. Ternyata danau itu lebih asin daripada oceans lain in the world. Dan di paragraf terakhir, the Great Salt Lake can vary tremendously from its normal size of 1,700 square miles depending on long-term weather conditions. Dan di paragraf terakhir, kita ngomongin tentang size-nya. So yeah, here is it. Jawabannya yang A. Two unusual characteristic of Great Salt Lake are discussed. Nah, apa tuh two unusual characteristic-nya? Nah, itu tadi. Karakteristik bahwa ternyata danau ini tuh lebih asing daripada laut-laut lain. Kemudian karakteristik kedua adalah tentang size-nya yang berubah-ubah depending on long-term weather conditions. Seperti itu teman-teman. Jelas ya? Okay, now let's continue to number 5. Ya, masih dengan pertanyaan yang sama ya teman-teman, tapi teksnya di sini lebih singkat. So, I'll give you 10 seconds to choose the answer. Right, time is up. So, the answer is B. Oke, jadi di paragraf ini agak unik ya teman-teman. Mari kita bahas ya. This passage consists of two paragraphs. Now, the first sentence in the first paragraph said, common types of calendars can be based on the sun or the moon. Oke. Nah, dilihat dari kalimat pertama ini, the sun or the moon. Pasti di kalimat-kalimat setelahnya, di part setelahnya ini bakal ngebedah satu-satu antara type of calendar yang berdasarkan sun sama type of calendar yang dihitung berdasarkan bulan. Nah, yang dihitung berdasarkan sun itu dijadiin satu paragraf sekalian di sini. The solar calendar is based on the solar year. Nah, berarti kalimat setelahnya ini akan ngomongin tentang mungkin ya everything about solar year, tentang solar calendar. Nah, baru deh. Nah, itu tadi ya, solar itu yang dihitung berdasarkan pergerakan matahari. Sedangkan next, berdasarkan perhitungan bulan itu ada di paragraf kedua. The lunar calendar is synchronized to the lunar month rather than the solar year. Itu. So, yeah, the answer is B. Two types of calendars are described. Itu ya teman-teman, yang paling tepat, tidak kurang, tidak lebih. Oke, lanjut nomor 6. Oke, Still with the same question as previously, I'll give you 20 seconds. All right, time is up. So what is your answer? Okay, let's discuss it. The answer is D. Okay, how come? One hypothesis is developed from another. Okay. Nah, jadi gimana sih paragraf ini? Gimana sih bacaan ini itu organize the idea? Gimana sih kita ngekonklusiinnya? Tetap sama, kita bisa baca kalimat pertama dari tiap paragraf. Kita baca satu-satu ya. Theories about the movement. Theories about the movement of the continents have evolved. Oke. Teorinya tuh berevolusi ya, kayak berkembang gitu. Over time as the ability to conduct scientific study of the continents has improved. Seiring dengan scientific study tentang benua itu telah berkembang juga. Nah, berarti kita bahas tentang theories, tentang pembentukan atau pergerakan continents atau benua. Di paragraf kedua, according to the theory of continental drift, oke, berarti ini bahas teori continental drift. The continents are not fixed in the position, but instead move slowly. Berarti benua itu enggak pakem di posisinya sekarang, teman-teman. Tapi biasa dulu itu benua-benua itu move slowly across the surface of the earth, constantly changing in position relative to one another. It constantly changing position. Sedangkan di paragraf ketiga, apa ya yang dibahas? Today, the modern theory of plate tectonics has developed from the theory of continental drift. Nah, from the theory of continental drift. Jadi, teori continental drift tadi yang ada di paragraf 2 itu berkembang jadi teori modern tentang plate tectonics ini. Seperti itu. Itulah kenapa jawabannya yang D. One hypothesis is developed from another. Teori yang satu ini, teori modern ini dikembangkan dari another theory, which is in this context from the theory of continental drift. Itu. Okay, let's continue to number 7. Kayaknya agak panjang ya, teman-teman. I will give you 20 seconds. All right, time is up. What's your answer? Okay, so here is the answer actually. So the answer is yes, the answer is actually B. Oke, kita baca satu-satu ya. Ya harus fokus. Di teks ini dia punya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraph. Oke. Alright. So the first paragraph said, the Statue of Liberty, one of the most iconic symbols of the United States, stands tall on Liberty Island in New York Harbor. Oke, ngomongin tentang patung Liberty, teman-teman pasti tahu. Nah, di paragraf kedua, the Statue of Liberty stands 151 feet tall, not including the pedestal, which adds an additional 154 feet to the overall height. Oke, berarti ini ngomongin tingginya ya, ngomongin the physical appearance of the Liberty statue. Next, the statue's design. Oke, berarti next ngomongin tentang design and construction. Were a remarkable engineering feat for the time. Alright. Next, since its dedication, The Statue of Liberty has become one of the most recognizable and visited landmarks in the world. Okay. So since its dedication, Patung Liberty ini menjadi salah satu landmarks atau monumen yang paling dikenali dan paling banyak dikunjungi ada di bumi. Yang terakhir, despite its age and the harsh environmental condition, it has endured. The Statue of Liberty continues to be maintained by and preserved by the National Park Services. Jadi, despite its age, meskipun umurnya sudah sangat lama, and the harsh environmental condition that has injured, the Statue of Liberty itu tetap dibudayakan oleh National Park Service. Oke, itu dia. So, how is the information in the passage organized? It is brief. By presenting the general overview dulu, yang tentang patung Liberty ini di paragraf 1. Kemudian, moving to specific details tentang physical or construction facts. Tadi ya, di paragraf 2 ini. Followed by historical notes and its cultural role and preservation. Nah, tadi ya, yang spesifik detailnya ada di paragraf 2 dan 3. Kemudian, historical note-nya ada di sini. Kenapa sih catatan sejarahnya itu apa sih dari Patung Liberty? Itu ada di paragraf 4. Dan yang terakhir, the preservation. Dia masih dibudayakan oleh National Park Service tadi di last paragraph. Seperti itu, teman-teman. Okay, let's continue to question number 8. So it's still about Liberty. I will give you 10 seconds. All right, so what's your answer? Okay, so the answer is A, guys. How is the information in the first paragraph related to the information in the second paragraph? Lihat ya. Paragraf 1 tadi kan providing the overview ya, general overview tentang Patung Liberty. Kemudian di paragraf kedua tadi berisikan tentang apa? Ya, tentang the physical appearance dari Patung Liberty ini. Jadi, the second paragraph gives concrete physical and construction details that expand on the general description introduced in the first paragraph. That's quite clear. Okay, I hope you understand that. Okay, next, nomor 9. Okay, so we have kind of long text again. I will give you 20 seconds to read, yeah. All right, time is up. What's your answer? Okay, so let's check it together. So the answer is B, guys. See ya. How is the information in the passage primarily organized? Oke, kita lihat dulu. Yang nomor paragraf pertama. Bees are insect pollinators that play a crucial role in the ecosystem. Oke, berarti ngomongin tentang lebah yang merupakan penyerbuk alami ya, yang memerankan peran penting di ekosistem. Oke, next. Bees are highly efficient pollinators due to their unique physical characteristic and behavior. Oke, jadi di paragraf ini nyebutin kenapa sih bees itu kenapa lebah jadi penyerbuk yang cukup efisien. Nah, alasannya adalah karena dia punya unique physical characteristic and behavior. Next, In paragraph 3, in addition to their pollination role, bees also produce honey. Oh, jadi selain jadi pembantu penyerbuk alami, bees itu juga memproduksi honey. A valuable food resource for human and other animals. Oke, jadi selain jadi penyerbuk alami, bee juga memproduksi madu yang berguna bagi makhluk hidup. Right, next. However, nah ini berarti mau menyebutkan fakta yang kontradik. However, namun, bees population around the world have been declining at an alarming rate in recent years. Oh, berarti populasi lebah itu mengkhawatirkan saat ini. Plus, to address the declining bees population, various conservation efforts have been implemented. Nah, untuk menanggapi isu declining bees population tadi, berbagai macam usaha konservasi itu telah diimplementasikan atau dilakukan. So, the answer is B. By starting with general background tentang lebah tadi di paragraf pertama, and then detailing specific roles and characteristic yang ada di paragraf ke-2 dan 3, followed by describing a problem and ending with solution. Problemnya apa? Mulai however tadi di paragraf keempat. Problemnya adalah tentang populasi lebah. Dan solusinya adalah yang various conservations that have been implemented tadi. Seperti itu ya teman-teman. Hopefully that's understandable. Right, next, the last question. Yeah, it will be still about this passage. I will give you 10 seconds. Okay, so let's discuss it. So the answer is B. How does the third paragraph relate to the first paragraph? Nah, paragraf 3 itu tentang apa sih? In addition to their pollination role, bees also produce honey. Nah, berarti dia nyebutin salah satu role dari bee, yakni produce honey. Nah, di yang pertama, di paragraf pertama tadi nyebutin apa emangnya? Oh, bees are insect pollinators that play a crucial role in the ecosystem. Nah, berarti paragraf ketiga itu termasuk salah satu penjabaran dari crucial role yang udah disebut, yang udah dimention di paragraf 1. So the answer is B. It expands on the idea introduced initially by describing another significant role it plays, which is producing honey. Seperti itu ya, teman-teman. Okay, hopefully that's understandable enough. Okay, so that's all about our 10 questions. I would like to highlight that to find out how passage is organized atau mungkin hubungan antar paragraf, jangan lupa untuk selalu membaca the first sentence dari tiap paragraf yang diminta. Kemudian coba kalian hubungkan. Kira-kira apa sih hubungannya? Paragraf ini bahas apa? Paragraf itu bahas apa? Kemudian, you could read the answer choices and eliminate pilihan-pilihan yang nggak nyambung atau nggak sesuai sampai akhirnya menemukan pilihan yang paling tepat. Seperti itu ya teman-teman. Alright, so we have already done discussing all of those 10 questions. So, saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada para donatur Let's Study yang telah membiayai proses produksi materi ini. StudyMates bisa mereview kembali bahan pembelajaran textbook catatan dan juga latihan soal yang tersedia pada link yang ada di description box. Let's Study juga telah menyediakan playlist YouTube khusus bahan pembelajaran loh. Jadi jangan lupa dicek ya StudyMates. Nah, StudyMates juga bisa loh mensupport Let's Study dengan cara berdonasi seikhlasnya melalui scan QR code yang ada di layar teman-teman sekarang ini. Teman-teman bisa berdonasi seikhlasnya ya di sana. Selain berdonasi dalam bentuk uang, StudyMates juga bisa share platform Let's Study kepada teman-teman sekitar atau membagikan info platform Let's Study ke social media StudyMates. Yuk follow akun social media Let's Study. Kita available di Instagram, Twitter, dan juga TikTok. Jangan lupa di-follow ya, biar selalu dapat update konten bermanfaat lainnya. Terima kasih, sampai jumpa di video selanjutnya. And see ya!